Good morning all. Today we have uniqueness of the field of quotients. Last day we have learned about any integral domain can be enlarged to a field of quotients. So that quotients, that uniqueness, we have to learn the one theorem and two corollaries are there. So let's move to the theorem. Let F be a field of quotients of the integral domain D and L be any field containing D. Then there exists a map psi from F to L that gives an isomorphism of F with a subfield of L such that psi of A equal to A for all A element of D. Let's look in the proof. So we have a field of quotients. The field is defined in the integral domain D and we have one more field. L is the another field containing D. Then we can define from the two fields. One is enlarged from the integral domain and the other one is that field containing D. So from psi we can define a map psi from the first field to the second field that gives an isomorphism of F with the subfield of L such that psi of A equal to A. So we have to show an isomorphism also. So we can define since F denote the field of quotients of D. So we can write that F as F is equal to A quotient F B such that A be element of D and B not equal to 0. This is the definition. Quotient ring as the field is defined as quotient of integral domain where A quotient FB is equal to the equivalent classes of AB. So that is AFB denote the quotient of A element of D by B element of D. Since L is a field containing D for any AB element of D and B not equal to 0, we have AB inverse is element of L. So L is a field, the B inverse exists, so AB inverse element of L. So where B inverse is the inverse of B in L. Now we can denote AB inverse by A quotient LB and we can define a subfield L1, a subset L1 A quotient LB such that AB element of D and B not equal to 0. So clearly this will be a subfield of L. So we know that D is an integral domain. There will be unity is there. Integral domain is commutative ring with unity. So unity element 1 is element of D. And of course that one is not equal to 0. It's different from the 0 element. Hence for any A element of D, A is equal to A into 1 which is equal to A into 1 inverse. So we could write A as AL1. So A is an element of L1. A quotient L1. So A is an element of L1. Hence D is contained in L1. So we took an element A from D. So it's in L1. So L1 is the superset. Now define psi from F to L by the given in the theorem statement. It is there psi of A equal to A for all A element of D and psi of A given A quotient F B is equal to A quotient L B for all A quotient F B element of F. So we have to show that the defined psi is an isomorphism. For that we have to show that it is 1 1 on 2 and it is structure preserving. First take two elements A B C D element of D. We have to take the two elements psi of A quotient F B which is equal to C quotient F D where A B C D element of D where the condition is B not equal to 0, D not equal to 0. So A quotient F B equal to C quotient F D is equal to A quotient F we defined as it's the equivalent class. So equivalent class AB is equal to equivalent class CD which is equal to equivalent class AB is equal to AD and which is equal to BC in D. That's the equivalence relation. AD is equal to BC. So which implies B inverse AD we can pre-multiply it by B inverse and after post multiply by D inverse. So B inverse of AD D inverse equal to B inverse of BC into D inverse. So that here this D inverse cancels. So B inverse A D inverse is equal to B inverse B C D inverse, which is implies B inverse A is equal to C D inverse. So we could write this thing into we can write B inverse A is equal to CD inverse can be rewritten as AB inverse is equal to CD inverse. So that this will be equal to A quotient LB, which is equal to C quotient LD. This is the definition of psi, which is equal to psi of A quotient FB, which is equal to psi of C quotient FD. Hence, psi is well defined and on one-to-one. So it's clearly onto for any element in psi of A quotient LB, there will be a psi of A quotient LB. So it's clearly onto. Now we can we have to show that the structure preserving is there. So for that, take two elements, A quotient LB, C quotient FB. A quotient FB, C quotient FB be two elements of F, and we use the field axioms. So psi of A quotient FB plus C quotient FD is equal to psi of, instead of A quotient FB we could write the equivalent class AB plus CD, which is equal to the equivalence in that sum is equal to AD plus BC BD, which is equal to psi of AD plus BC quotient F BD, which is equal to AD plus BC quotient L psi. We took the psi function, so AD plus BC quotient L BD, which is equal to AD plus BC into BD inverse, which is equal to AD plus BC into D inverse B inverse, which is equal to AD into D inverse B inverse plus CB into B inverse D inverse, which is equal to AB inverse plus CD inverse, which is equal to A quotient LB plus C quotient LD. Which is equal to psi of A quotient FB plus psi of C quotient FD. So the addition structure preserving we have shown. Now the multiplication, psi of A quotient FB C quotient FD is equal to psi of A quotient psi of AB CD, which is equal to the product in classes is psi of AC BD, which is equal to psi of AC quotient FBD, which is equal to AC quotient L BD, F the function we are taking, which is equal to, that is defined as AC into BD inverse. So we here inverse BD inverse is equal to the inverse D inverse B inverse, which is equal to AB inverse into CD inverse. We took the associative, commutative, that type of laws we used. So AB inverse CD inverse, which is equal to A quotient LB C quotient LD, which is equal to psi of A quotient FB into psi of C quotient FD. Hence psi is an isomorphism of F with a subfield L1 of L such that psi of A equal to A for all A element of D. This is the proof of the theorem, the uniqueness of the subfields. Now the corollary, every field L containing an integral domain D contains a subfield of quotient of D. So we have a field, so it should contain an integral domain containing an integral domain D contains a field of quotients of D. If field contains an integral domain, then there will be a quotient of D, a field of quotient of D is also there. We have shown in the first theorem. When we construct the field of quotients, we have established that every integral domain can be embedded in a field known as field of quotients. That's the first theorem. Also, this field of quotient is the minimal field in the sense that every field containing D contains a subfield which is linearly isometric to the field of quotients of f. This is the second theorem. The first two theorems combining, we will get the corollary. Now the corollary 2. Second corollary is any two subfield of quotients of an integral domain D are isomorphic. So we took two subfields f1 and f2 of an integral domain D, that is field of quotients of integral domain D, and let be any field containing D. Then by the theorem, the theorem is first theorem. An integral domain D can be enlarged to a field f such that every element of f can be expressed as a quotient of two elements of D. So we can write both f1 and f2 are isomorphic to the subfield of L1 of L by the second theorem, defined by L1 is equal to a quotient LB such that AB element of D and B not equal to 0, where a quotient LB is equal to AB inverse. So since this relation is isomorphic to, is an equivalence relation, f1 and f2 are isomorphic.